could be a fascinating North London battle, James, for Eberechi Eze later in the window, or even coming up soon. So I'm going to go straight in at the deep end and ask you which of those two teams needs him the most.
I think that when you use the word need, you only have to look at Tottenham's current situation with James Maddison, as you mentioned, ruled out for likely the majority of the season with an ACL injury. Heung-min Son now moved on to LAFC. They need more bodies in, do Tottenham. You know, they're in the Champions League this season. They've got to compete on all fronts. They need some quality in that attacking area of the pitch. They've brought in Mohamed Kudus, likely play on the right-hand side. Talks about trying to go after Savinho, who can play right or left. Actually, if you look at his stats, certainly for Manchester City, he scored more goals on the left-hand side than he did on the right. So potentially that could be where he fits. For Tottenham, we know they went for Morgan Gibbs-White earlier on in the transfer window. That didn't happen. He committed to staying at Nottingham Forest. So it's very clear that that's been an area they're looking at. So Eberechi Eze, they've been admirers of him for a while. Understand that that would be a player you would say they need. Arsenal have already been very active in the transfer window, spending, close to around £200 million to bolster their squad. Outgoing's going to be key for Arsenal. They need to probably clear the likes of Fabio Vieira, attacking midfielder, Reece Nelson, wide player. So players in that area, potentially Leandro Trossard as well. That would then clear maybe a need for more depth in that position, more competition for the likes of Martin Ødegaard. I think with Arsenal's perspective, though, Matt, they've got two very young players that they fully believe in Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman. Max Dowman, one of the most talented 15-year-olds I've ever seen play.
Incredible, yeah.
He was utterly incredible when he played pre-season game against Villarreal. Came off the bench, completely changed that game. Just looks like somebody playing above his years. For Arsenal, they want to make sure that there's pathways in the squad for those players to develop. Now, they've got a question on their minds. Is bringing in a player like Eberechi Eze going to potentially block that pathway for the next 2, 3, 4 years for those players? And that's a question they've got to ask themselves. Or is their desire to win now and be successful right now overarching that? And that's a question they have. So, look, I think Tottenham need the player more, but Eberechi Eze is a talented player, man.
Yeah, he is, and I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have him, but Palace don't have to sell him, do? He's got years left on his contract.
2 years left, yeah.
Right. But Steve Parish's comments were very interesting on the weekend at the Community Shield, weren't they? And he basically said, and he was talking mainly about Mark Guéhi, that really they can't hold on to a player like that if a big offer comes in, because he's in the last year of his contract. So in terms of holding on to their stars, Crystal Palace, and I'm talking about the likes of JP Mateta as well, Adam Wharton, Eze and Guéhi, the fact that Guéhi's in the last year of his contract, does that make him a lot more gettable than the rest?
Yeah, definitely. I think Steve Parish's comments were pretty clear that he can't afford to let any player go on a free transfer at the end of their contract. So this is their opportunity, the last chance to maximise any transfer value. They could get the likes of £50 million for someone like Mark Guéhi. He's been at the club since 2021. They rejected offers last summer from Newcastle, rejected an offer in January from Tottenham too. So likely now is the chance to cash in. And with Eberechi Eze as well, 2 years left in his contract, this is their last chance to maximise a huge transfer fee they could get for Eberechi Eze, because it will decline as he goes into his final couple of years of his contract. So look, it is their chance. It wasn't music to Crystal Palace's fans' ears hearing Steve Parish say that, but the Palace owners being realistic in his approach.